Now, if we're going to talk about mountains, it feels like Clemson is like struggling to get to the top of the mountain and they go 2 steps forward, 1 step back. We had high expectations for
I would
this
say
team.
1 step forward, 2 steps back. We're not making
Yeah,
progress.
that's fair.
We're going
That's fair.
backwards.
That's fair. We're going backwards right now. We had such high expectations coming into the season, fourth ranked team in the country, so much returning, and it hasn't lived up to the hype. And look, Dabo Sweeney did say after the game, like the 2 losses we've been in the game in the fourth quarter and had a chance to win it, and we just couldn't get it done. So it's not like they're getting completely waxed by teams, but we expected them at the start of the season to not be in close games with potential to lose like they are. So where do they go from here, Emac? What needs to change? Because to be fair, while they do lose this tiebreaker that could potentially be down the road against Georgia Tech, they still have plenty in front of them with opportunity. It's not over yet.
And, I think there's so many different ways to look at it. And I'll put out something later in the week. You guys can look at it and we'll break down some of the plays, what went wrong, what went well. And it's hard to keep having like that positive outlook. Now for a coach and for a player, please, like you have to, or this thing's going to get really, really bad. But just from an outsider's perspective, from people that watch it from afar, watch it on TV, watch it in person, it's hard to have that because it doesn't look like what it should look like. There are clear, obvious mistakes that can be seen, whether that's a quarterback tripping on a blade of grass, falling down in the backfield, whether that's fumbling the football, running straight into the back of your offensive lineman when there's a B gap wide open, dropping a ball. When you have the first down, it's right there. You just got to catch it, and it goes right through your hands. And now we're punting the football. When you don't tackle a quarterback, when it's a tackle for loss, and he goes on to get 20 yards, when you don't cover, a guy and he's screaming wide open, when you miss a field goal, so there's a lot of super glaring things that just frustrates you. And you're just kind of looking at how is this happening? Like, how are there so many deficiencies on such a talented team with such, in my opinion, a talented coaching staff, that you went out and you made changes and you got guys that at the time were the hottest of hot and that everybody was so excited about. Why isn't there more development at certain places, than there are? Recruiting is great, but now when you have them, what are you doing with them? And so to me, I think that's the really frustrating thing. How do you have a quarterback that a couple of years ago everyone said he sucked, and when they said he sucked, okay, now he started to play better. Now when we tell you your grade, you can't. I don't know. It's very odd, and even to hear some of the things you do about, well, practice is good, and practice is this and that, and we're doing this in practice, and why that doesn't translate to the game. Is that the coach's fault? Is
That's
that the
even
player's
actually
fault?
more alarming. That's even actually more
It is to
alarming.
me too, because okay, what I get from that is just y'all suck. Like you're having success because you're not good, one way or the other, which I don't know if it's the case, and clip that if you want and take it out of context. But it's such an alarming, strange thing because it feels like all the changes and the money and the transfers and the coaches and all the changes that were possible to be made were made, and yet you're not having the same success. Now, here's the thing too. At the end of the day, I think that college football right now, in regards to talent distribution, in regards to quality of play overall, in regards to the best can't just be the best, I think it's significantly more parity right now than there was when Clemson and Alabama were just dominating everybody. I think that's true. And so it's harder to win. It's harder to keep people. It's harder to take the next step. I also think that people just aren't as good as I thought they were, which is a shame and which is kind of frustrating to deal with. Well, we can go into a bunch of different things, and I just always think of this thing in different ways before I just would love to sit here and scream and yell about why things are so bad and why things aren't the way they are. And I just remember A, it's a long season. B, I know what it takes to win and it's very hard. And C, at the end of the day, there's only one winner. There's two teams playing, only one team can win. And it's hard to do. And so with all that said, Clemson has to figure it out in a hurry. Because the good thing is they play FSU, so they relatively control their own destiny from that. The bad thing is they lost to Georgia Tech and they do not play Miami. And so you're a little bit behind the 8 ball here. And, at the end of the day, you want to control what you can control. I relatively like the attitude coming out of it, but the best players got to be the best players. I don't want to hear about how close we are. I don't care. Get past close, do it, get
Yeah.
it done. And
Yeah.
so you sit with me all Saturday.